Hello, I'm Jim Morningstar, your guide through this 9-session integrative life teacher training series. In this class, we'll affirm our role in the holistic paradigm shift on our planet. We will further learn the principles of mental mastery and how to have them work for us in creating a planetary consciousness shift. Holistic systems versus causal or linear thinking. The success to which we aspire bespeaks of a shift in consciousness of which we are playing a vital role. This is not just an upgrade for a select group of individuals. It is a planetary shift that has started when we have seen our purpose here is beyond survival and encompasses global cooperation and thriving. Again, this is far more than a nice spiritual aspiration. It involves how we are neurologically wired. It involves how we think and perceive the world and challenges the basic assumptions of traditional survivalistic philosophy. This shift has been characterized as thinking holistically versus causally or linearly, which I'll summarize in 3 tenets. First, answers we seek in our life challenges are within the systems in which we participate, rather than seeing our systems as inadequate and needing rescuing or intervention from the outside. Now, a system is a basic functioning life unit, such as a human body, a business, or society in general. The seeds to health and well-being are discoverable within rather than perceiving the system as only dysfunctional. It is by growing these seeds that we heal and evolve rather than destroying or eliminating all the elements of which it is comprised. The second tenet: elements of a system can inherently support one another. Solutions come from understanding how the interactions of its component elements can be harmonized more effectively than making one right and another wrong, which fosters the blame game and eternal struggle. Common examples abound in family systems and workplaces where finding the bad apple leads to institutionalizing dysfunction. For example, the bad child or the troublemaker employee. Now, this does not mean systems should always stay intact, but rather that they can reveal how the elements can be interchanged in a larger system until greater harmony is established. For example, a child leaving a family and finding a vocation in society that develops their gifts, or an employee working in another company that suits their talents and values versus labeling individuals as sick or useless. The third tenet: in a hologram, each element of a system reflects the whole of the system and is an integral part of its harmonious functioning. If one part is hurting, the entire system is affected. Each part must be heard and valued for total success. One part of the body is signaling something important for the whole organism. One element of society is giving voice to something important for all. It takes that vision to validate all parts and find the shifts needed to come to a higher order for dis-ease to lead to growth. Now, this paradigm shift changes the very starting point from which we approach life. That is, positing essential wholeness and a supportive universe rather than brokenness and a hostile environment. Thus, how we interpret the events of our life, the actions we take in response to them, the results that ensue, and how we interpret those results are all contingent upon our starting premises. Though we may inhabit the same planet, we can live in vastly different worlds. We are not necessarily born with this consciousness, but I believe we have all the innate tools to develop it. We all came to this planet with a body and mind, and we must learn to increasingly master them to fully live our purpose. So let's look at the steps to mastering our mind, principles of mental mastery. I'd like to share with you 3 basic principles of mental mastery and manifestation that in one form or another are used by all successful people. Contrary to popular belief, just do it doesn't do it for 95% of humanity. Unless you understand how your mind works for you or against you, you'll get stuck in the same ruts, producing the same limited results, no matter how hard you try to just do it. The key is to work with greater vision and trust, not more force. In learning to love our mind, it's critical to experience the difference between who you are essentially and what your mind is. The mind is your power to think and amass a collection of thoughts known as memories. Unless you experience that the love you are is what creates your mind and has control over it, you will continuously confuse the servant with the master and will be at the disposal of whoever knows how to influence your mind and thereby control your life and your happiness. So, who controls your thinking? Experiment 1. Choosing your thoughts. So let's do an experiment right now. Just as you sit here, think a thought, any thought whatsoever. Now, make a note of your thought on Class 3, Handout 1, Thought 1. Stop the video and complete this and come back to the video. Next, think a different thought, related or unrelated to the first. Again, make note of your Thought 2 on Handout 1, Thought 2. Stop the video, complete this, and come back to the video. Now observe, who just chose those thoughts and censored out any thoughts you preferred not to write down? You can't blame your parents or society. Even though they have influenced your thoughts, you have the right to think what you want. This has been demonstrated throughout history. People can be tortured or intimidated and still think what they want. It's our inalienable right as humans. Right now, you can believe or disbelieve me, your teachers, family, leaders, and change your mind when you wake up tomorrow. You are not your thoughts, but are the chief administrator of what thoughts you create or accept from others. If you advocate responsibility to control your mind, you quickly become its servant, controlled by its judgments and dictates, which are often programmed by family and society. Why this is critical is that everything from scientific research to common sense shows that the quality of one's thoughts and feelings over the long run shapes the quality of one's life. As you thinketh, so you are. Negative thoughts and feelings lead to negative results. Positive thoughts and feelings lead to positive results. So how we think and feel has a direct influence on our effectiveness, consequently on our happiness in life. And we are responsible for the quality of our thoughts and feelings. Now, we all have data on this truth. When we go into a situation with bad attitude, we often come out with bad results. Go in with a good attitude, and we often get good results. Changing our attitude influences our feelings about the results and sometimes the results themselves. But we also know that this does not happen 100% of the time. There are good reasons for this. There are things we cannot change, and trying to change them just frustrates us. The Serenity Prayer wisely advises us to gain the courage to change what we can, accept what we cannot, and have the wisdom to know the difference between the two. But regardless of the events in our life, we are 100% responsible for our thoughts and feelings, which shape our perceptions and attitudes, as well as our sense of well-being and happiness. I may get fired from my job and see it as the end of the world, or the beginning of a new life. So our purpose is to strengthen your ability to use your mind effectively and lovingly in getting what you want by knowing what subconscious instructions you are giving to your body and thus your life. We know that just saying we want to do something, like more exercise, does not mean we automatically will do it. We're complex creatures, and there are some powerful thoughts we harbor subconsciously which are in competition and sabotaging what we consciously want. How your mind works. Now, your mind is your ability to think, as evidenced by the collection of all your thoughts. You have this ability. It's not who you are, just as you have the ability to talk, but talking is not who you are. It's something who you are does. Basic operating principles of the mind are, first, what you concentrate on increases. Examples are thoughts like, people avoid me, or I'm liked by others, or I never get enough. All influence your results. 2, what you think is absolute truth is what you create in your life. Examples, people try to use each other, or life is exciting, will play out in your creation and interpretation of what you see as real. 3, what you think continues to exert influence until you change it. Examples, the world is a scary place, or I'm helped by others. These thoughts can be influenced by others, but not ultimately changed by them. These foundational thoughts will continue to play out until you confront and change them. Now, you do not need 20 years of psychoanalysis to discover your deepest beliefs. Your beliefs are evident in how you see and talk about your world. The laws of the mind. Law of attraction. Thoughts and feelings attract like thoughts and feelings. Examples are negative thoughts and feelings. Mondays are bad. I always burn my toast on Mondays. I hate going to work on Mondays. People are grumpy on Mondays. All these thoughts cluster and reinforce the premise that Mondays are bad. Positive thoughts and feelings. Lunch is fun. I like eating lunch with my friends. I always get a little extra treat for myself at lunch. Lunchtime refreshes me for the afternoon. All these thoughts cluster and reinforce the premise, lunchtime is fun. Now, write several positive thoughts and feelings you have about a particular activity you like very much on handout 1, Law of Attraction. Stop the video and complete this. Come back to the video. Law of projection. I see the world through the glasses of my prevailing beliefs. Examples. If my prevailing belief is that I am not interesting and people are not interested in what I have to share, then right now I'm sitting here looking at a video camera and I'm seeing people getting bored with this whole presentation, turning off the video and never returning. And this video camera looks cold and unforgiving. The room feels lonely and isolating. On the other hand, if my prevailing belief is that I am interesting and sharing concepts that have immeasurably improved my life and the lives of countless others who have made them their own, then right now, this camera looks like a magic window into the lives of like-spirited voyagers who are excited about being more in charge of their minds and lives and co-creating a world of harmony and empowerment. And this room feels filled with like-spirited companions. Now, write an example of how you may have wrongly projected upon someone else's behavior or life circumstances on handout 1, Law of Projection. For example, I thought my partner was angry at me when she passed me this morning without talking. but you're just focused on finding her keys. So stop the video, complete this, and come back to the video. Law of transformation. I help shape others' thoughts and feelings through communicating my thoughts and feelings. Now, this does not mean that I'm controlling others' thoughts and feelings, but I can create an atmosphere that makes it more attractive for others to access harmonious or discordant thoughts and feelings. Examples. I can radiate the thought, people don't like me. People really don't like me. People don't like me. Well, sure enough, if I maintain this style of communication long enough, I can encourage the majority of people to be annoyed with me and not like me. On the other hand, if I reinforce the thought, people like me, with a warm and receptive demeanor, I present an attractive invitation for people's positive regard. So actually, my prevailing thoughts become commands to others. People don't like me. Or people like me. Note how you believe you have helped shape another's beliefs on handout 1, Law of Transformation. Stop the video, complete this, and come back to the video. Law of harmony, balance, or synchronicity. Patterns of thought attract complementary patterns. Now, life is replete with examples of how your role and the other person's are complements of one another. Outgoing versus introverted, artistic versus logical, caretaking versus needing help, staying at home versus out in the world, persecutor versus victim. A person wanting to get even finds a person who is guilty or vulnerable. So make note of a complementary relationship you have or have had in your life on handout 1, Law of Harmony, Balance, or Synchronicity. Stop the video, complete this, and come back to the video. I encourage you to share your awareness and progress with another supportive human. The more we share and reinforce each other's progress, the more we learn from each other, and the more exponentially we grow and enhance our work. Holding you in my heart as fellow travelers on the road home, I send and receive blessings for our circle and all sentient beings till next class. Blessings in light and love.